Hi everyone, welcome to our panel. It would be me and Lisa, but you guys already know Lisa and heard her talk a lot, so you have to do with me for a while. This is a panel about OpenSats and our donations that we've been doing to a lot of projects in the space. Something we want to talk about on the stage today. I'm Dred. You guys might know me from being a Bitcoiner, Pleb, and PlebNet participant, is that name? I'm also a board member of OpenSats, along with Lisa and 7 other members of that member board, and we are an open source focused public charity, 501c3 regulated charity. We do public financial statements, and all of our meetings are online. And we donate to projects that are focused on Bitcoin, open source projects that are surrounding the Bitcoin community as well, not just directly Bitcoin, but Bitcoin adjacent. So Lightning, Nostr, and other things, name it. And we're very happy to be supporters of the projects you see on the stage here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick summary of who's on the stage and then let them introduce themselves. There's Robin Lannis here, who works on ZeroSync. There's Dustin, who works on splicing. There's Dan Gould, who I used to love using Chaincase, but now he works on KJoin. And there's Ben Carmack, who I don't know what he does, to be honest. He works on Mutiny. So I'll start at the end there, Ben. You want to give a quick introduction on what Mutiny is and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, Mutiny Wallet we recently launched, but the idea is basically a web-based Bitcoin and Lightning wallet. So you guys might have seen like recently this year, Domino's got something from the App Store, because Apple didn't like them sending payments. So our kind of thesis is like that's going to happen to everyone eventually. So let's just skip all the app stores completely and ship directly to the web so no one can stop us. And in that we're putting like a lot of Nostr features and other stuff. Like let's not just be censorship resistant, let's be a cool, actually usable wallet. And we just launched some Nostr features yesterday. Yeah.
I'm Dan Gould. I work on KJoin, which has been around for quite a while. So I used to think of Bitcoin privacy as a problem that could be solved by users taking actions on their own volition, which started with Tumblebit and turned into coin joins, and now people do swaps and they put their coins into mixers sometimes. And I think all of this is not a good idea because I forgot to put on sunscreen today. And sometimes when you need to protect yourself, you forget. So the idea that's most compelling to me with KJoin is that it's something you can build into the typical default user flow when Bitcoin gets transferred. So there's 2 efforts. One is to build out the communication, kjoin.org, so people understand what the heck is going on, how it works, and get it adopted by people who move large amounts of money, businesses. And that's facilitated by KJoin DevKit, which rides on the Lightning DevKit, Bitcoin DevKit memes to make a single library where everyone can collaborate. We can have something that's very correct, that's easy to use, that's well tested, and combines to all sorts of apps like Mutiny. And OpenSats is making it happen.
And eventually splicing, right?
Splicing and KJoin go hand in hand.
Let's go.
Tell us about splicing, Dusty.
Right, I'm Dusty. I've been working on a Lightning portable upgrade called splicing for a while now. And it's a thing that seems simple at first, but ends up being really complicated because the last couple years of my life I can attest to. But it's a core concept of taking an existing Lightning channel and resizing its size. And turns out when you do that, all these other ancillary benefits appear, essentially creating fungibility from on-chain and Lightning. And I did that initially in core Lightning, the implementation there, but I'm also working on the spec generally and focusing on getting it more adoption across the board.
Robin, tell us about ZeroSync.
Yeah, ZeroSync is applying zero knowledge proofs to Bitcoin, essentially to compress the chain and make it more accessible and also at some point maybe more scalable. Yeah, we are a Swiss non-profit, Bitcoin only, focused on applying cutting-edge cryptography research to Bitcoin and turning it into products that are free and open source. Yeah, I'm from Germany, which is an awesome country. It's cold outside and warm inside, like the opposite of here.
Awesome, thank you. So I know we have about 45 minutes total, so I'm going to ask you guys one question each about your projects. And maybe we can make it interactive if the crowd has a question for them too. But I'm going to start with you, Robin. Zero sync and in general, scaling the Bitcoin proof and confirmation and making it quicker has always been a challenge that people have tried to do. Can you tell us a little bit more about how Zero Sync plans to handle that and the related projects out there? Like I know that on Core they're trying to do things like a CPTXO that's doing something similar. So how is Zero Sync solving this challenge?
Yeah, we are building a chain state proof, which is essentially a cryptographic proof for the current chain state, like the UTXO set, who owns what. And it's very different to assume UTXO in that sense that assume UTXO is pretty trusted. Like somebody has to give you the UTXO set and you have to trust that it is correct. As far as I know, it does verify it in the background, but first, like until it's verified in the background, you basically trust it. And with such a state proof, you don't have to trust it all. Like it's proven that it's correct. Yeah, it's still, but it's a very nice combination with assumed UTXO because it is somewhat fancy cryptography. It's not like that it has been out there for 20 years and everybody agrees that it's absolutely simple or so. It's quite complex. So it's a good thing to combine it with assumed UTXO to have the best of both worlds. So you sync initially with that proof, and then you have already quite high confidence that the UTXO set is correct. But then you can combine it with assumed UTXO to also sync in the background to have like a double check and be absolutely certain that it's correct.
And this is full chain state sync that you're getting from Zero Proof, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can verify pretty much every consensus rule in a proof. The only thing you cannot verify, or two things you cannot verify. First of all, you cannot verify the longest chain rule. Like it's hard to prove that something does not exist, so I cannot prove to you there is not a chain that is longer. So you still have that honest peer assumption that you have to be connected to a network where you are not eclipsed. You have to have at least one honest peer. But if you have one honest peer, then you can instantly resolve conflicts and immediately know which chain is the correct one. And the other thing is, which is a bit of a pity, is you cannot verify data availability. Like I can prove to you that the chain is correct, but you don't know if you could download that chain if you wanted to. And that might lead to some edge cases that can be a bit cumbersome in some cases, but I think we can overcome that with a bit of engineering.
Really good to hear we're moving the needle forward. Any questions from the crowd? Any quick questions on Zero Sync? Alright, let's move to Dusty.
Let's go.
Alright,
What's your hard question? You got one for me?
Yeah, what the hell is splicing?
Oh god, it's the worst one.
Well, I mean, so splicing, every time I hear about it, I hear it can do more. So people kind of understand splicing is really, increasing the capacity of your lightning channel on one side or the other. But tell us something that splicing can do that you didn't really know, that most people don't know it can do. That's like a really cool bonus for using splicing.
Oh man, there's actually multiple of those. I had to pick one. I think probably the fact that splices are actually coin joins is pretty wild, and this is mostly to Lisa's influence of her work coming before splicing. So every time you do a splice, it's actually got a mini coin join, and if you're not familiar with coin joins, so those that work today is you have a central coordinator who coordinates everyone together to merge all their Bitcoin together to create privacy. And with Lightning and splicing, every single Lightning operator becomes this coordinator. So you end up with like a distributed set of coordinators, which is just like a potentially amazing source of coin join privacy. And the other thing that's nuts about it is like one of the challenges with coin joins is that you have to pay a lot of money to use them, right? So you end up only with like motivated actors using it. If you join a splice coin join, you actually pay less money than a regular transaction fee. So you get to share some of the costs with your peers. So this means that you can do coin join-like stuff for cheaper than regular on-chain transactions. And I think that's a huge deal. I think like long run, the way we get privacy on chain is we make it cheaper to do so. So we get like lots of people to come for the cheap fees, and then they get privacy as a side effect. And I think splicing is a key thing that's like making that possible, because you can, every Lightning adjustment to the splice can also start a new coin join round. And if you combine it with, say, pay joins, and if you combine that with like the future of Taproot Lightning channels, you can end up where everything on chain, it looks exactly the same. They're all just the exact same thing on chain, and then like chain analysis guys just like retire, which is kind of the goal, right? Go back to academia. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? Everyone here gets it now, right? You pass the test later?
On-chain transaction ID vulnerability.
Yeah.
Isn't there still a UTXO association, like through the Lightning Network, where people can see this channel is this output?
It's a great fucking question. I shouldn't curse. It's a great good question. Currently, yes, but there's an update to, it's called Gossip 2.0, that will remove the dissociation. So like, the way Lightning works today is if you want to have a Lightning channel, you want to announce to the network of a Lightning channel, you have to announce you have it on chain. And you point to like, this is the spot on chain where my channel exists, and it proves that you're not just lying. Because if we let anyone announce they have a channel on the Lightning network, we're opening ourselves up to spam, right? People could just lie and say, I have 5 million channels, and then now like the spammers take over the network. So you have to have some kind of proof that people saying they have a Lightning channel actually have them. So the initial design was, okay, we know that we can prove that you have a spot on chain, like if you have the keys to that spot on the chain, then you can do a custom signature, whatever, and then prove that it's yours. In hindsight, it's become clear, like we never actually needed that. It was the simple solution. We don't actually need to know where your channel is. We just need you to cost something to announce channels. So this is what's called Gossip 2.0. This idea is, okay, let's stop saying where our channels are. Let's just say you have some funds on chain somewhere and just prove that you have them. And now we tie your reputation to those funds themselves. So if you do some like bad act on the Lightning Network, we then blacklist that particular UTXO, and now your reputation is canceled. And in this way, we make it expensive for spammers to spam the Lightning Network without doxing channel location. So this is a key thing that has to be solved first before these dreams of coin join splicing could ever be a reality. So that's a great question.
Does this need to be standardized like a bolt, or it needs to be in a spec for this to happen? What needs to happen for a Gossip 2.0 to be standard?
Oh, Gossip 2.0. It's a great question. It's in early days. I think it's just in the minds of people right now, like they've been talking about it. I don't think there's even a spec started if they haven't seen it. But yeah, it eventually has to become an actual spec written down in a bolt and then like get merged together. I'm kind of just hoping other people get that done in time, you know? If I finish all my splicing stuff and they haven't finished it, maybe I'll jump in and just to get things going, but I think they got pretty cool on it.
Any other question back?
The funds that they have to prove they have, that should be the same amount of the channel that they're trying to.
This is exactly the debate going on right now with the Lightning protocol devs. It's like, how much should it be, right? And I think like 1-to-1, it kind of seems like the wrong answer. So what we're saying is, if I say I have a 10 Bitcoin Lightning channel, do I have to have 10 Bitcoin somewhere on chain to be able to claim that? And if you require it to be 1-to-1, that means I actually have to have 20 Bitcoin. So I can only use half of my Bitcoin at Lightning channels, and that creates like a problem, right? Who wants to have half their funds sitting there doing nothing, just proving on Lightning? So like, the idea is just probably some ratio, like maybe if I put 1 Bitcoin I'm allowed to claim, I have 10 on Lightning, right? But then what is that ratio? Like, welcome to bike shedding, right? That's supposed to be a joke. Everyone know what bike shedding is?
Yeah.
Okay, great, all right, thanks.
Okay.
Oh, bike shedding. So bike shedding is when you have like a complicated project you're working on, and everyone argues over the color of the bike shed. So like, imagine you have a complicated construction, like commune you're building, and like there's a... Oh, it was a power plant? Tell the whole story. Yeah, did you know the story? Tell it.
The idea like people are building a nuclear power plant, and instead of talking about the security of it, which is quite complicated, they are talking about the color of the bike shed, because everybody can contribute to that discussion. That's the main statement.
Right. And it's the idea that like certain topics in a group discussion draw more attention, even if they're not the important ones.
The most trivial ones draw the most attention, because it's the most easy to have an opinion on them.
I see. A lot of noise versus the signal you're trying to get to.
Yeah, and you can avoid the fear of being wrong, because there's no wrong color. Like,
Right.
Well.
So I'd like to move on to page loading, because I know this dovetails pretty well into splicing. I've been seeing the software development get age, happen with EDK, LDK, PDK, CDK, all these DKs now. Two questions I have for you, Matt. One, what makes PageJoin Development Kit specific and unique as opposed to being built into BDK? And two, how do you see the PageJoins being creating Lightning channels in products like Mutiny and others?
So the first question is, why is PageJoin DevKit a standalone thing? Why is it not in Bitcoin DevKit? And this is not really a hard question to answer, actually. Bitcoin DevKit is focused on how you build wallets. So generating keys, managing those keys, and then getting whatever state of those keys exists on the network through syncing. And PageJoin is a way, like splicing, to have two different people coordinate to contribute one transaction. And in PageJoin, that only requires an internet connection and partially signed Bitcoin transactions. So the details on how you actually construct that transaction. So there's not that much overlap, actually, between managing a wallet and building PageJoins. And by having it be its own standalone thing, the people that focus on the dev kit can focus on making PDK right and work outside of an environment that depends on the way BDK syncs the blockchain, the way BDK derives keys and manages them. So the reason it is PageJoin DevKit is because it shares an ancestor in Rust Bitcoin, so it uses the same primitives, but it doesn't require you to use BDK to build software. You can use Bitcoin D, there's a PageJoiner in Bitcoin D. You can use LND and PageJoin from that. There's a project called Nolink that does that. So there's separate things we can focus and specialize to keep them separate, and that's why they're separate. The second question is how PageJoins can contribute to what's going on in Lightning.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about what's already done. Like, I love the Nolan project because that uses it a lot, and also I know you're in Bitmass a little bit. They're using you as well. You talk about how they're using it, if they're using it for Lightning channels or otherwise, or just PageJoins.
Yeah, so I think it's important to take a high-level view of really what a PageJoin is and is trying to do. So as I said, it's a way to batch two people's transaction desires in one transaction. And in doing so, we achieve two things. We know batching can save money, but usually when we think of batching, we think of one person who's building the transaction, sending to multiple recipients. Instead of that, I want to pay some money to Dread. And because we coordinate, we can both still send money on to other people, but we can also batch in our desire to transact with one another. So we get some privacy because it's built into the batch. It's hard to see each action, whether it's me paying someone out, me paying Dread, or Dread paying someone out. And because I want the privacy and I'm willing to pay for it, I'm willing to pay Dread to contribute his input and consolidate it so that he doesn't need to make a transaction with both of those inputs later. So you save money and you get privacy as a side effect, which I think Dusty mentioned too, with splicing. Now, with Lightning, you need to fund a node somehow to begin with, and PageJoin gives you some interaction that can make those steps fewer. So this is beyond the batching, this is beyond the fee savings, this is when I have a brand new node, I want to put money on it, and usually I would use the node and the chain to synchronize the funds I have, say, sent to me, and getting those funds on the Lightning Network. So instead of first depositing the funds in the node and then opening the channels, on my node I can configure, okay, when I get funds, I want to open these channels, and the internet communication for PageJoin can let me fund those channels directly without depositing first. So you just have the proposal come from outside, say, okay, I want to pay your node, and the node responds to the PageJoin sender making the proposal, saying, how about instead of sending to my static address, this transaction opens a bunch of channels, and that can happen all at once. So, for example, an exchange supporting PageJoin could allow someone with a node to open channels directly from their sats without ever taking a single sig UTXO on the node. So you get some fee savings there, and you get time savings, and ideally it's even less of a complication from a user interface perspective where you just scan a QR code and you have channels going. Dashboard software could have the same defaults even.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think like it's kind of crazy that today everyone does Lightning. They'll take their funds, move it on-chain to their on-chain Lightning wallet, and then from there on to Lightning. It's like 2 hops. It's like doubling the fees every time. Yeah.
But does it also say that, like, if you're trying to open 10 channels, like you were saying that, and I have, you know, all my funds on my cold wallet, I not only save the hop, but can I open all 10 channels with one transaction, or do I still need to do 10?
Sure, you can do it all at once, and that's true of any sort of payment you want to do on the receiving end of a pay join. You can queue up all the things you want to batch. Say you are an exchange receiving some money and you want to forward it as withdrawals to users. You can receive a pay join and include that in batch too. So you can receive a pay join and open a bunch of channels or one, or you could have any sort of, you can move money automatically to your cold wallet,
Where you slice it out.
and you should slice it out.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Awesome. All right. So, are there any questions for PayJoin? Everyone in the back?
Since we're on sharing it now, why don't you go across the pipeline?
What's that?
Since we know what bike shitting is now, why do you call it, I think you said Rust PayJoin?
Yeah, the library is Rust PayJoin. You should github.com/payjoin/Rust PayJoin.
You can open an issue on Lightning.
Yeah, and we have had some success getting it into Bitmask and had a couple businesses now working with us to actually implement it there, because whoever moves the most money has the most money they can actually save. If you're moving a lot of transactions, you're paying the most in transaction fees. So yeah, PayJoin for the win. And also, I think it's worth mentioning a version 2. So the version 1 PayJoin leverages public key infrastructure, certificate authorities for authentication. I think that has been a huge barrier that's been talked about on the mailing list about why PayJoin might not have taken off. And some people in the past have said, oh, just use Tor, add additional dependencies, but we can actually strip that back. Bitcoin doesn't have OpenSSL because it doesn't need OpenSSL. We have all this sorts of crypto. So it's not clear exactly which transport makes the most sense, whether it's going to be something based on UDP or TCP, but the idea is we have enough crypto to build peer-to-peer authenticated encrypted connections, and we're doing that, and we should just rely on a TCP socket. Maybe we can use web sockets on top of that. Yeah.
It's not broken up.
It's happening.
Just use TCP. Yeah.
No, UDP for life.
Okay, any other questions for PayJoin after that?
Can you say what companies are working on
Yeah, I mean, Bitmask, of course. We got Hunter in the audience. Bitmask is
Shout out to the RGB.
a browser extension that does on-chain, Lightning, and RGB. And we can use this batching even internally with the RGB assets to make the transfers more difficult to track of those assets. Bull Bitcoin has been incredibly supportive with their Cypher node backend to make that happen. For their batching, they already do a batching service, so getting PayJoin in only decreases their fee spend. And then Galoy has this incredible granular accounting system and batching system called Bria, based in Rust, which should be able to do batching for all sorts of sources of signers. And getting PayJoin in that will make it possible for those companies with real accounting requirements, serious players, to use PayJoin and know that they're not going to lose money.
You just made it personally exciting for me because I'm creating a form of Galoy right now. So if Bria can do this, then I'm definitely going to be using it.
Stay tuned.
Let's go.
All right, Ben, Harman, let's talk about Mutiny for a bit. Quick story, I've used Mutiny myself, and we have a quick story where we're paying the kids with lightning as their allowance, and it was like a really convenient thing, but they have to get approval to download an app from the App Store from their mom, so they were trying to get lightning, and I was like, forget the App Store, just open up Mutiny real quick and get some lightning. So it's super cool in your browser only, but let's talk about the difficulties you've had in terms of building it and what you see the other opportunities that Mutiny has as more than just the lightning app, because you guys are building in Noster, you're doing privacy implementations as well. What is your real big high-level vision of Noster along Mutiny?
My goal is implementing all of these things.
Yeah.
Right? But
Let's go.
Dan has a PR at page running Mutiny. So one day we'll have that. Once other kids splicing, we'll have that. And like we have an entire lightning node running in the browser. So it's zero sync, and we've got an entire full node running in the browser. So one day we'll have all of that, but not yet. So right now, like basically, we're only 3 or 4 months old, so we have send and receive, and it works mostly. And we're just trying to make that like extremely solid. But yeah, like this OpenSats grant we got was basically all for Noster integration. So we just launched yesterday, basically like a Venmo kind of feed in your contacts. So you type in your info and it syncs your entire contacts list. And it'll pull in all their like, lightning addresses and everything. So you can see who's zapping who, just like, like Zaplight or something, but it's your personalized feed. And you can zap from the app as well. So you can kind of like make that like social payments experience again without having to, like use Venmo or something. It's like, if you don't like that, it's like another wall can implement this, and it just ports immediately over. It's the same, it's just Noster. So you get this like kind of using like all these interoperable protocols to like build a better experience that the fiat world can.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because otherwise we're doing the same thing. Like Zebedee also has Noster integration, so it'll be like sending from one person to another over Lightning.
Yeah, like my goal is like, say you start with Zebedee, like this is great, you have this huge contact list. If you want to move to Mutiny, it's like taking that whole contact list, like, for my iPhone, it's like, I've never switched to like Android because that contact list would be such a bitch to move over. But now it's like, this is like, it's type my info, it downloads it, and it's done in 1 second. Like that's like such a way better experience, and like, we're no longer have this like whole lot of users, so you can easily move between everything. I think that's nice.
I'm going to ask you the one hard question that every browser or application gets. What if I delete my browser? What if I lose my storage, my browser?
Yeah, so if you delete your browser history, that's bad. But so we have like ways to do this. So as long as you if you have your 12 words, you have all your money. So your 12 words back up your on-chain funds is normal. Your Lightning state is normally the hard part because that's like after every payment or your channel update, you need to have the most recent version of that, otherwise it'll go away. And you can't just back it up to your 12 words. So if you delete your browser, that's gone. But what we do is we have encrypted cloud backups. So every time your wallet saves state, we encrypt it and send it to the cloud, and that's stored in our database. We can't track anything. But when you type in your 12 words, it'll download that state and decrypt it, and you'll have your most recent state. So it allows us to if you break your phone, or even if you just want to use it on multiple devices, you can just type in your 12 words. You always have the most recent state available. So it's really nice being able to have that seamless UX of just typing in 12 words and all of your money's there, like a normal on-chain wallet.
And you guys are open source, so anybody could see the code, look at it, fork it if they want. You also have open LSP framework where you could use different LSPs if they wanted to use it.
That's the end goal. So right now we're just using the voltage LSP, Flow 2.0, and the Olympus Zeus's LSP implement the same HTTP spec. So those are interoperable for the most part, but as well there's an ongoing effort throughout the Lightning community called the things like Open LSP spec, where that's a separate implementation, and all the communications is done over Lightning and stuff, and the C equals guys are mainly working on that. But last week or 2 weeks ago, John Cantrell got a demo of it working in Mutiny, so it is coming. And I think C equals they set up a meeting at Lightning Node, so soon we'll have actual testing for it with us as well. So yeah, that is the end goal. Everyone implementing the spec. So then you just hook up any single. You just kind of type it out there, the key, and after that, they become your LSP. So we want to get there eventually, but yeah, that's an ongoing process. And there's a lot of different trade-offs there, because like the way our LSP works, like uses this like rapid invoicing method to like give users privacy, but the OpenLSP spec that SQL's working on works a little differently, so it has different trade-offs where you don't get as much privacy, but a little more convenience and stuff. But yeah, we'll see when it gets there. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Carmen. Me and Carmen go way back. Love this guy. Real OG in the programming space since the beginning of time. Important contributor. So I wanted to give a quick lightning round question for everyone on the panel here. We can start with Robin here. Tell me about your experience with the grant application process, and how easy it was to apply for, or how hard it was, and the response time, etc. Because I want people to know that we are OpenSats taking applications, and what they have to go through to get one if they're going to.
That was super awesome. Like we applied and super quickly we got an answer, and super quickly we got our first Bitcoin payment, and I was extremely surprised how quickly everything went. And I feel it's very motivating that we as like a open source project, we get so much support from you guys, and it's fueled our team a lot and motivated us to ship as fast as possible.
Happy to hear it. That's the goal. This is the way. Dusty.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. No, just kidding. No, the OpenSats team seems to be doing like really good job. One of the best jobs I've seen in like grant processes, and that both I think they're like appreciating more important technical work that maybe is harder to catch than a very technical team like OpenSats has. And just processing wise, you guys have just killed it in my mind. Like the application was processed quickly, everything is going smoothly. It's just I'm bullish on OpenSats for the future. I think it's going to fund everything eventually. But point being is that I think OpenSats is doing an amazing job, and I'm super appreciative to be one of their recipients, so I can just focus on the splicing work that I want to do. And thank you.
Thank you.
It's pass through, it's professional, it's quick. It's been incredible. More than anything, I think we should appreciate OpenSats for allowing us to actually have the time to find consensus on new ideas. Because the grant isn't so focused on having an immediate result, of course you want to see progress, but it gives us a chance to, outside of a competitive environment, figure out what's actually best for Bitcoin, what people want, and deliver on that. So having the freedom and the trust to do that is made easy. You present, I like that it's automated too. I didn't have to send you an email, just a web form, that's good. I think more people should do that. It's kind of a simple thing, but it's easy to overlook. That you tell us exactly what you want, you fill out the questions, who are you, why should we give you money, what are you going to deliver, and the turnaround's quick, and it's easy, and it's Bitcoin.
We're text-based, we should use the tech, right?
Yeah.
And I've had kind of a privileged experience because I knew maybe half the board before OpenSats even existed, but they all abstained from voting on us, to be clear. But it's been great otherwise, like a super simple process, and like every month we get all the payments, like oh shit, we got paid, this is nice. And all great team there and giving all awesome projects. It's basically part of the OpenSats family.
Yeah, we appreciate all of you and all the projects that we have. You can check out OpenSats.org. We have over 18 projects listed on the website that you can directly donate to. OpenSats is, like I said, a public charity, 501c3. It's 100% pass-through. So there are many ways you can participate. You can either donate directly to our general fund. We're 9 of us. It's a very open and democratic process where we choose projects and deliberate over which ones get funded. You can also directly donate to your favorite project. On the website, they're listed and more projects get posted all the time. You can also volunteer for OpenSats by going to OpenSats.org and fill out a form or contact us directly to volunteer. And we also have an Nostr fund that you can donate to. And because we're funding a lot of Nostr projects and a lot of Nostr adjacent projects, Community is one of them, and there are many others, NDK, etc. And then lastly, and most important, you should share this. Like, we want to reach out to all the contributors in open source the open source community out there that are looking for ideas to grow and to have a stable support system to do so. And we want to make sure that everybody knows about us. So share it on your social media, whether it's Nostr or any of the other dystopian social medias that you use, like X or whatever it's called. The last thing I'll say is we also have a long-term support program. We just did Suro's Provos, which is a very epic core contributor. And that got announced today. You can see it on our Nostr post, and we're going to be doing more of those. So supporting Bitcoin Core is one of the most important things. That's the core of what we stand for. It's freedom tech and supporting it. So keep pushing the name OpenSats out there for people who want to see it. I saw a question in the front here. Do you have one, Maria?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, what's the average length of the support? What is the average amount? Is there an amount? And then how long is the application process as far as what do you have to submit?
That's a great question. For the first question, the range, it's so wide, a broad range. I don't think we've ever had a real minimum or a maximum. It really depends on the need, and the idea, and the people who are building it.
So I tell you what I'm hoping for, or you set it?
We have if you go to OpenSats.org, there's a list of criteria on what we are expecting. But the summary is it should be open, free and open source, whether it's MIT, GPL, one of those licenses. And it also should be, an open source contributing team. It cannot be like a company trying to do it for profit, and as long as that's the base of it, then the rest of it is really up to the 9 members. Or if you're putting a project directly on the website, then people will donate directly.
We're also hiring.
Oh, and we're hiring. Wait, we're hiring?
Yeah, there's something.
Oh, we're hiring operations for fiat stuff. So yeah, we need somebody to help us with that. But you can go on our website to see the details of that as well. I think one of our board members, Matt, read it out on his podcast the other day, a full job description. So if you're interested, check it out. We can use that help too. All right, thank you everybody for your time.